Welcome to Beyond Sci-Fi. If you love stories of courage and mystery, make sure to subscribe and join our growing community. The jungle breathed around them, each exhale releasing clouds of luminescent spores that drifted like living stars through the canopy. Kai moved through the undergrowth with practiced silence, boots finding purchase on moss-licked roots without disturbing the delicate ecosystem of sound, the searing insects, the distant calls of tree-dwellers, the soft percussion of bioluminescent sap dripping from wounded bark. The air tasted of copper and ozone, the way Earth's forests smelled before a storm. And Kai had learned in their 3 months on Vedara-7 that such similarities were deceptive. This world followed different rules, honored different hierarchies of survival. The path narrowed ahead, where 2 massive crystalline formations created a natural gateway, their surfaces pulsing with veins of amber light that responded to nearby movement. Kai's scanner had mapped this route as the safest passage to the research station 15 kilometers, through relatively stable terrain, avoiding the acidic marshlands to the east and the territorial grounds of the glasswing swarms to the west. The Verderan contact, a bipedal creature named Eshkara, with skin like polished stone, had warned against this route. The shadow-stalkers hunt these passages, they'd said, their translation implant rendering the words with an undertone of genuine fear. Even we do not challenge them when they gather, but Kai's supplies were running low, and the long way around would add 2 days to the journey. The first sign came as a cessation of sound. The jungle's constant symphony died, as if someone had thrown a switch, leaving only the whisper of Kai's own breathing and the faint hum of the helmet mic. Then came the I-6 pairs of them, gleaming like molten copper in the shadows between the crystal gates, positioned at heights that suggested bodies, both large and low to the ground. Kai stopped moving, every muscle freezing mid-step in the way that prey animals do when they've realized they've been seen. The eyes didn't blink. They watched with the patient intensity of apex predators who've never learned to doubt their dominance. 3 cubs emerged from the darkness with fluid grace that belied their youth, each the size of a grown wolf but built like something designed by a committee of nightmares. Sleek bodies covered in obsidian scales that caught and fractured the ambient light, limbs ending in retractable claws that scored marks into the stone path, faces that were simultaneously canine and feline with too many teeth visible even with their mouths closed. The lead cub, slightly larger than its siblings, lowered its head and released a sound somewhere between a growl and a purr, a vibration that Kai felt in their chest cavity, the universal language of warning. Behind them, deeper in the shadows, larger shapes shifted, parents perhaps, or older siblings, waiting to see what the strange visitor would do. Kai's hand moved slowly to their belt, bypassing the plasma cutter and the emergency beacon, fingers finding instead the small wooden object they'd carved during the long transit to this sector, an Earth habit, keeping hands busy during hyperspace jumps. The whistle was simple, just bamboo and patience, modeled after the ones their grandmother had made back in the Cascadian forests. They'd used it to call their dog, Max, across meadows gold with late summer grass, and later, during their wilderness guide years, to calm startled horses and redirect curious bears. Different animals, different worlds, but Kai had noticed something in their months. Among alien fauna, fear and curiosity were universal languages, and sometimes the key to one was the sound of the other. The lead cub took a step forward, claws clicking against stone. Its siblings flanked it, forming a semicircle that cut off any possibility of retreat. Kai could hear their breathing now, could see the slight flare of nostrils as they processed this strange creature's scent. No sudden movements, no eye contact that could be read as challenge. Kai lifted the whistle to their lips with glacial slowness, then blew soft, just a brief note that warbled up and down in pitch, the way wind sounds when it finds a gap in rock formations. The same call they'd used for Max, for horses, for wild things that needed to know you meant no harm. The effect was immediate and startling. All 3 cubs froze, their copper eyes widening, ears-ridged structures Kai had barely noticed before swiveling forward with mechanical precision. The lead cub's head tilted to one side in a gesture so familiar, so reminiscent of every confused puppy Kai had ever met, that they nearly laughed. Behind the cubs, the larger shadows went still. The jungle held its breath. Kai whistled again, longer this time, adding a trill at the end. The lead cub took a step forward, then another, its aggressive posture melting into something else, curiosity, perhaps, or recognition of something in that sound that bypassed its predatory instincts entirely. Its siblings followed, moving in synchronization, their lethal grace transformed into the cautious approach of youngsters investigating something new. Kai crouched slowly, making themselves smaller, less threatening, and extended one hand palm up in the ancient gesture of offering nothing but presence. The lead cub's nose wet and surprisingly warm pressed against Kai's palm. Its scales were smooth, almost glass-like, and Kai could feel the vibration of its purr growl through the contact. Then the other two were there, pushing against Kai's legs, their massive heads seeking touch the way Earth's domesticated animals did, as if the whistle had unlocked something in their genetic memory that predated their evolution into apex predators. Kai repeated the whistle, and the cubs settled, sitting around them like an honor guard, their dangerous beauty rendered temporarily harmless by whatever alchemy of sound and instinct had bridged the gap between species. Movement in the periphery, not the adult shadow-stalkers, but something else. Kai's enhanced vision caught the shimmer of personal shielding, the telltale sign of Verderan environmental suits. Eshkara stood frozen 30 meters away, their stone-like features somehow conveying absolute shock. Behind them, two others of their species, equally motionless. Kai caught the rapid-fire clicking of their native language, too fast for the translator to pass, but the tone was unmistakable. Disbelief, fear, wonder. Kai stood slowly, and the cubs stood with them. The path ahead lay open, the crystal gates no longer guarded but accompanied. Kai took a step forward, then another, and the cubs moved as one, flanking them like an escort. The adult shadow-stalkers melted back into the jungle without challenge, and Kai understood that they'd just passed some test they hadn't known they were taking. Behind them, the Verderan observers remained frozen, their stone faces unable to mask their expressions, as Kai and their unlikely pack disappeared into the bioluminescent depths of the jungle. The stars of Verdara 7 emerged through gaps in the canopy, 3 moons painting the landscape in shades of silver and blue. And somewhere in the research station ahead, Kai knew that word would already be spreading through the quantum networks. The human who walked with shadow-stalkers, who commanded respect with nothing but breath and bamboo, who possessed mysteries that even they themselves might not fully understand.